See, you go on the Florida thru-hikers.
So there was one other thru hiker when I got to the shelter last night. I kind of expected somebody to be there. I just didn't know who it would be because when I saw that register earlier, several people had come through that day. So it turns out his name is Smokey Bear, and he's pretty famous on the AT. He's done a lot of trail magic, and he's hiked the whole trail, and people kind of know who he is at a lot of the hostels and things. But we pretty much sat there around the campfire and talked until probably 10 o'clock and then went to bed. So it was nice to meet somebody new, have somebody to talk to, spend the night with, just swapping stories and advice and experiences and all that. So he's gonna be probably not gonna see him again because he's holding up at the road walk up here to get cell service for a phone call meeting he's got to do. But not sure exactly the plan for today. It's either going to be a short day, like 16 miles, or a longer day at like 25 or 26. Today is supposed to be like once I get past that 16-mile mark, there's some road walking that has aggressive dogs. If people talk about, like, one house has 3 dogs and another house has another dog, and so I'm not doubting that there's dogs that come barking and running up to the gates and stuff, but people say there's pit bulls and all these other things, so we'll see. Said I've coined the term defensive dogs, so we will put my classifications to the test to see if we actually have an aggressive dog. But still got my pepper spray. I don't think I'll actually have to use it because I think they're mostly defensive dogs, but we have that to look forward to. And then tomorrow will be like probably a shorter day, going through town, resupplying, recharging, getting a little town food, etc. And probably just gonna go less than 20 miles tomorrow. So crossed that road over there, come out on a bridge across here. That way goes to Palatka. I don't think this bike path goes all the way there. I mean, maybe it does, but I think you can get down there and take a bus or something to get in if you didn't want to hitchhike. But I think this goes this direction for about 3 miles before it turns off. So one thing that I was talking to Smokey Bear last night about he grew up in Florida and has hiked, kind of been around and hunted and everything. And he was telling me that the monkeys I heard about, they actually originally came here as part of when they were filming the movie Tarzan. I forget when he said, it may be like the 1950s or something. They brought these like 50 monkeys and they released them in the Silver Springs area because they wanted some like background noise for their filming. And then when the filming was over, they couldn't capture all of them again. So they just been wild and invasive ever since. And then, so the Silver Springs, I don't know if the east side of Orlando goes directly through it, but it goes near it at least. And he said occasionally these rhesus monkeys will have like disputes within their clans, and they'll pick out one of the male monkeys and he has to go off and find his own territory. So occasionally they'll make it over to the west side and there'll be some monkey spottings over there for a little bit, but I think their concentration is still mostly around Silver Springs. So I never did see any monkeys. So here is, for your educational purposes, some these are the tracks I saw the other day. I think I was seeing the raccoon, the smaller one anyway. I guess, I don't know, it says these are hind, front. I don't know what these are, but those are the ones that look familiar. So this is like point one off of the Florida Trail, and I'm probably gonna take maybe just like half an hour break here because the sun is beating down on me, and I think I'm gonna be road walking for a lot of the day. There's a little to no shade, so I'm going to cool off, and then there's water fountain over there. It's supposed to have some cold water, so I'm gonna kind of camel up, hydrate, and then I think I'm gonna go like 26 miles today total, so this is roughly halfway. So there is an outlet there. Doesn't appear to work. So this outlet on here does work. You just got to be careful with this button. You got to push it in to reset it, because if it's popped out, then it's not going to work. So I spent, I'm not even sure how long, at least an hour here, maybe hour and 15, hour and a half. One of the Forest Service rangers came by and was just emptying the trash cans in the bathrooms and stuff. I did talk to my friend that was up ahead, kind of a trail fest plans and where they're camping and if I'm gonna be able to catch them or not. They're gonna do the canoe thing when they get to White Springs, because blowdowns in that section is like supposed to be really bad. I think the place I'm gonna go is a little bit further than where I intended by maybe a mile or two. From here it's about 13 miles. So even if I take a couple breaks and don't quite do 3 miles an hour, I should still get in by probably 6 p.m. And it is getting a little bit cloudy, enough to where like sometimes a cloud will block the sun and give you some shade. So I'm gonna head out now a little bit earlier than anticipated, and it should probably be around a 26 or 27 mile day today. And she also said that she didn't have any issues with the aggressive dogs. Like, there was dogs that barked, but they were all behind fences, and you know, they didn't have any problems with them. So I don't think I will have any issues either, and that's good, because this is the one section everybody on Far Out seems to be posting comments about aggressive dogs. And like I said, it turns out it doesn't look like it's going to be the case. It looks like it's roughly going to be 3 miles trail, about 6 miles of road walk, and then whatever's left of that, 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles, whatever, of trail to end the day. So a little bit of everything. Okay, we are officially out of the first 3.5 miles of trail since our break earlier. We are getting kicked out onto the street. We have about 6.5 miles of this. Well, not this, but paved road up here. And so this is where there's supposed to be several instances of aggressive dogs. I said my friend told me that they're pretty much all behind fences, so shouldn't really be an issue. And then after that, I said there's another 3 or 4 miles of trail. So we are at the end of the first 3.5 or so miles of this road walk. All we have to show for it was 2 barking dogs behind a fence and a closed gate, and the owner was at their front door sitting there yelling at the dogs to stop barking and to come back. So far, nothing to worry about, no issues. So I don't know why people make such a big deal out of this stuff. So I made it past all of the road walking for today, for a grand total of probably like 9 miles of road walking, and several different comments about aggressive dogs. There was one house with 2 dogs, both behind fence and a locked gate, that barked at me, which is probably what like 80% of every dog would do, somebody walking by their house. So it's not what I would call an aggressive dog or even a defensive dog. It's just a normal dog. But what do I know? So it's not to say that I'm not going to run into some dogs on the rest of this trail that are out in the road and barking and chasing and following me, but based on my experience so far, I think it's unlikely. I think a lot of it's overblown. So just how like a lot of people worry about black bears on the Appalachian Trail, and they get out there and realize, oh, it's actually not that big of a deal. It's the same thing with these dogs. Like, it's like rumors get spread around and none of them are actually true. Okay, so I basically walked from like somewhere over there all the way around this lake. Comes out to this, which I believe is a bathhouse. My friend said they slept here last night inside of it. I've yet to go inside there. I don't know what it looks like, but sleeping in a bathhouse sounds a bit odd. It's like a bathroom, but there's water here, there's outlets here, and worst case, if I don't want to sleep inside, I haven't seen any like no camping signs anywhere, so I could just pick like a flat spot somewhere and set up my tent. But we're gonna take a look at this and see what it is. Well, there are bathrooms in here, but most of it, sink, is this thing. I'm not sure what used to be here, but I can see why he would sleep here. And this is just the front. So I think there's like a bunch of cabins and stuff on the side of this lake. I'm guessing it has no plumbing in it. I mean, they had chimneys and like netted front porches and stuff. I mean, they were nice. They probably have, you know, like real beds and everything, but with it being on a lake like this, I guess they probably don't have the plumbing, so they have to walk down here to use this. So I'll hang out for a little bit and see how busy it is, but I feel like by 9:30 or 10 when I go to sleep, I just throw my pad down and pretty much everybody over there is going to be in bed or at least done using the bathroom for the night. So don't think I should have any issues, so we'll see. And I decided to put my bivvy out underneath that tree in the shadow instead of sleeping inside the bathhouse, just because I don't want to get waken up by somebody walking in there. And if somebody does walk in there, they're probably going to call somebody because they think some homeless person is living in there or something. So, I mean, my friends did it last night and they didn't have an issue, but I just don't like having to worry about it as I'm going to sleep. All these sounds of somebody walking up, is somebody coming to the door. Plus, there's like a bunch of ants and roaches around the outside of the building, so I really wouldn't want to sleep on the floor in there because of that. There is a bench you could sleep on, but I don't really want to sleep on a bench either. Standing on these steps and looking directly at that tree, I can't even see my stuff there, and I know it's there. So I figure anybody that's gonna use this bathroom is gonna be walking up these steps, and they're not really gonna be paying attention to that direction. Also, the last few days haven't been as foggy in the morning, and I think there'll be less condensation. And worst case, well, that's also right why I slept under the tree. One, because it's in the shadow, but the tree should help with the condensation if there is any. But it's been so hot in the afternoons that, I mean, I could put my sleeping bag out for probably 5 minutes and it would get completely dry. So I'm not too worried about it getting wet. And tomorrow I think I'm going to be doing a shorter day anyway. It's kind of a lot of road walks. I'm going to be going through town. On trail, it's 16 trail miles, but like if you walk through town, I think it's 18. So I'll probably get to town and kill a couple of hours like usual, and then basically there's a campsite on the outskirts of town, so it'll be like a 16 trail miles day. But that's kind of the plan for tomorrow, and then yeah, I'm gonna get in my bivvy and go to sleep. It was about 26 miles today, 27, something like that.